Once upon a time, in a land of snow and ice, an isolated village was threatened by a fierce, endless night. Hidden behind the curtains of this helpless darkness, countless crowds of horrific dangers were waiting for attack. But desperation led to find a suspecting strength from these brave folks, and from the steel and the cold of their land, it was forged the most powerful weapon, the metal music. Evil vanished, and peace followed. But things that should not be forgotten were lost. History became legend, legend became myth, and for 1,000 years the metal passed on of old knowledge, until when chance came, it empowered a new bearer, because metal has a will of its own. Welcome back, dear nerds! What Python, metal, and Finland have in common? Well, today a lot, because it's time for a new data analysis project, and we'll do it by exploiting two new libraries, Selenium and dependencies. There's a lot to say before starting, and for this reason, I fear I'll have to do another two-parts videos, even if I'm not a fan of episodes. Before starting, let me thank you metalarchive.com, better known as Encyclopaedia of Metallum. They not only provide me with this huge database, but more important, they grant me to get a temporary access to it, despite new security measures. In fact, unlike 1 year ago when I did the code, there's a new Verify Your Human button, who prevents everyone to retrieve data with Selenium or other libraries. But don't worry, because I got two solutions. First of all, I created an Excel file that you can use as a starting point for this project. And the second one is, of course, my temporary access. In short, first part is to show you how to use Selenium for retrieving data for any of your projects. And from part 2, you can follow me and the code with the data I've already downloaded for you. Anyway, regardless what part you start from, get ready, because it's time to rock! Coding and headbanging. We're starting here today with the page we want to reach with Selenium. I manually went here and I select all the criteria for having the list of all only Finnish metal bands. And as you can see here, there's a reason why I select Finland, because there are more than 5,300 entries, which means that Finland has a world of its own for metal. And that's why I love them. Now, we have something to discuss before. There's a problem concerned with the project itself. First of all, just to understand what we're talking about today, Selenium, as well as Beautiful Soup or Scrapey or just Request, manage us to reach, manipulate, and import or retrieve data from a web page. For doing this, we need to an interface, and this interface are the web drivers. According to the browser you use, you need to install on your system a specific web driver. In this case, that's the reason why I use from Selenium import web driver. We need to install them before. Unfortunately, in the past, every time there was an update, you had to manually install and replace the binary files in order to get connection between Python, Selenium, or Request and other with these pages. Thanks God, there was an instrument called WebDriver Manager, important for the versions because the problem starts here. From the old project, the 2023, so last year, and the updated one today, we have a difference in just the first line of code. Otherwise, it's exactly the very same command and the very same project and file. In the first version, so the version before, as is said here, 4.6 version of Selenium, we need to download the driver. From now on, with the new code, Selenium 4.6 onwards, download the drivers for you. So you shouldn't need to do anything. That's explain the difference in the code. In the old one, I need to import service as Chrome service and blah, 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 blah. Impossible to remember. In the second one, it's just a bit easier because it's just to create an option file where
you insert all specificness or input information you need to retrieve the data. And here comes the problem. Why you see here I insert an option password, because that's a password, because as I told you before, metalcarve.com had to use some safety measure as the verify your human button. And unfortunately, Selenium have to automatically click on that button. But now I'm going to show you why it doesn't work. If I use the old code, for instance, here, that's what happened. It opens the page in Chrome, the same page or the same I specify in the URL, but you see here a verify your human. If you click here, I'm not going to do it now, it starts an endless loop where you never reach the page, so you got to retrieve and quit. For these reasons, I delete this one, and from Selenium 4.6 onwards, I got this option. I use option. I store the password that Metal Archive provide me, just for temporary stuff, and I call Metal. Metal is not the password, so don't even try. Metal is the name I provide. And if you want to understand how it works, these things, it's just a way to use and share a password, a key, or something personal in a project that you have to share with others without showing the same password. If you want to understand how it works, look at my very first project video, the one in ChatGPT. In the very first parts, I explain how it works. So unfortunately, guys, I got to tell you, it doesn't work for now. This part of the code works for today and for other websites you want to reach. So if you're interested, just follow me for this part. Otherwise, skip this part and go to the second part of the project that I will do in another video, where I just start from the Excel file I saved by retrieving data here, okay? Now, let me show you how it works with the new one. First of all, in case you want to understand which version you have, remember pip show Selenium, and you got the number. In this case is 4.19, so that's explained when we're using the new one. Same thing for WebDriver Manager, pip show WebDriver Manager, and I got the same version you find here, which is the 4.0.1. So once again, you can copy and paste this version when you install it, okay? Now let's see the new command, what brings us to. It opens the page, and this time we are on the same URL we want. So now we're ready for starting our project, for inspecting each element. Okay, I hope you understand what happened here. We just need to do this one, a little difference. Okay, I can delete this and move on to the next part of the project. I can even delete this temporary file. Okay, just follow me for the inspection. This is the only thing we will see today. So now it's time to inspect the page. This code, the whole code for retrieving all our information and get our final data frame will be split now while I explain. So I open once again this file, and for now I just silence the second part. So once again, first of all, remember, that's the page that I manually reach. Now that we have to open with Selenium, and our target is to reach something like this, our Finnish _bands 2 file, which is the one you will open in the second part if you want to skip this. And so this is the final result. Apart from the index, we got a column for the band name, a column for the genre, and it's the right pronunciation, genre, I don't know, and location. At the end of the story, this location was split into other two columns because, if I'm not wrong, dear Finnish friends, please tell me, on the left side we got the city, and on the right we got the region. And that's important because I don't make confusion later on with GeoPandas. And last year I risked a meltdown. So once again, let's run this first part with a specific information here. What's the information? As you can read here, I just found some elements by the whole X path. Now I explain you why. And because I just want to know the total results. Let me see. By the way, the results is this one. As you can see, this is written showing 1 to 500 or 5,000 and more entries. I just want to know this number here. So click right, inspect, and we see here on the right all the information about this step, about this text. This is information we're going to retrieve as a start. And as you can see, it's class data table info. More importantly, whenever you want to retrieve data online, no matter if with Beautiful Soup or Selenium scraping, it's a good starting. Use a table. The first TD recognized by the page, because well, it's much better according to the description here, and it's easier. If you want to just be lazy, and I suggest you to become a very lazy ass here, as I don't know if I can say it, right click once again, copy, and copy X path. Okay, once you click here, just to show you, paste, and this is the path we see here. Okay, so this is the information we're going to retrieve with the command find element, because it's just one element, we know, by .xpath. If you do remember, we imported from Selenium webdriver.com.by, import by. It's a bit different from the former versions. Now I delete, and so this is just to make you sure understand what we're doing now. Later on, I'm sorry, once I got these results, I got a list of 5 elements, because I got all this information here. It says showing 1 to 500, blah blah blah. So if I just wanted this number, I need to do this. I use as a text all the information I got. I split all the empty space, so this one after the one after two, and so on. And finally, as always in Python, I take the fourth element, which is 5 here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the fifth element. And then I replace the commands with an empty space, because I just want to have the whole number without the Anglo-Saxon format. And this is what I'm going to do here now, because then I take this number and I divide it by 500, and I make just a round. That's because we have more than 500 pages for all the results. In short, Selenium must to click. Not 500 pages. 500 results for each page. So a bit more than 10 pages. As I rounded, I'm just keeping, if I'm not wrong, the last one. No, okay, it's okay. It will take all the last page before stop. And that's what I'm doing now. So I close here, because now we're doing it here. By the way, I prefer, as you can see later on, time.sleep, it's fundamental, but we will get it. We run the code. Once again, it open and got to the page. And now on just this page, it will take the information I need. Handed, yes. And now let's see what is number. First of all, let's see what's dot results. If I click, If I say text, I got the information I need, showing one, two, blah, 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 blah. So if you want to make some text before understanding which is the specific line, I suggest you to do this one. Start with this driver find element, and then, as I did here, just check .results.text. Once you got here, you know that you guys just select this one, and that's what we did here, and replace with a command. Then I made n pages, and finally, if I said n pages, I got 11 pages. Okay, and everything's work. Now, this is what I did for the first page, but now I need to create my whole data frame. Sorry, where is it? Here. I got to do this data frame here, which is the same on my Finnish bands. So now I need one column, and another column. This information will be retrieved this way. Pretty simple, actually. If you're used with a beautiful soup or scraping or some other software, you know that the procedure is almost the same, just changes some name of the commands, but it's pretty straightforward, trust me. Now, as usual, I want to create a data frame. As the lazy method, it's just create an empty list. In this list, we will append all information in the form of vocabulary, something that we already done in Beautiful Soap in many other projects on YouTube, you can see. First thing, so find elements, but I need to understand what I need to find. Once again, I want to use the command by xpath because I'm lazy. And so the first information I need to do is choosing the name. Remember, whenever I start a for loop, and in this case I'm going to use a nested loop, the first loop is for each row of this table for each page. Once I finish one page, I say Selenium, just click on the next button and move on, and do the same until you reach the end. But now we see. I need to find for each row, the first element I need to store is the name of the band. So once again, right click, inspect, and where is it? Is this one? No. Another way is just click here on this command and just hover over the name of the band. And on the right, you will see which is the specific path. But now, instead of this, I do right-click, inspect once again, and this is the address. Once again, I just say copy, xpath, and once again, I click here. I'm showing here just to understand. As you can see, there's a little big difference. Say I just select the first row of this table, and in the code you see there's not a number, not in the row and not in the data itself. That's because if I do that, it will just stop at the first page. But with a for loop as this one, you don't need to specify it. So we just copy and paste this one and just delete this part, these brackets. And this is the way we find the band names. Once again, find elements, it's like the file all in a beautiful soup. So this will become just a list, okay? Same thing will be done here. And now in the TD2 and TD3, it's important because we specify for each row the element. For the first one, we just need the A, which is the element that contains the hyperlink, okay? So we then select the text, so it's different between this one and this one. Once again, I can check the same thing for band genres and the location. So once again, I go here, I select this one, and say inspect, and once again I got information. Copy and paste this way, copy xpath, and once again we'll paste it here in order to understand. This is the final result. Now, just to make you understand, once this page is over, so once I reach the very last element, which is Belfagor, black metal, Uzima, change name, okay. I say Selenium, just click on the next button. And this is the way I do. I say, for being in range for all the length of the band names, first of all, I need to store, because I cannot skip the page and move on if I don't store the elements. So once again, I will say, I will do band list dot append, and then I select my vocabulary with three keywords, band, genre, and location. And then the elements are the one I selected with the name variable. So band names, and of course, this time I need to specify the number for each row. And that's all. Once I'm done, I just have to say, hey, Selenium, just click on the button, the next button. What was this one? Okay, it was this one. So it's exactly the same. So once I done this XPath, I say to Selenium, find this element, but wait, if it's not enabled, break the code, which means stop, because we reach the last parts. In fact, this is the command you use for understanding that that element it's not gray out. For instance, if you go to the last page, you see here, the next button cannot be clicked on, so which means it's not enabled. And this will prevent you from an endless loop. Once we're done, click, I say Selenium, just use click, so you just have to click on that button, and that's all. Here, once again, before quit, I always said, time sleep and at least a couple of seconds. Of course, the code will last longer, but trust me, it's a lifesaver. So once we're done here, I'm gonna show you, it will take a lot. If I didn't delete something important, I can do it. And here starts. Open the page. Let's see. Just pay attention here to the number. We're going to the end, some seconds. Loading, okay. It went to the next one. And now we need to wait. That's all. Last time I did it, last year, was with a very old laptop. And if I'm not wrong, it lasts more than 10 minutes. Now with 400 results more, just a couple of minutes. Of course, now I will cut. The good news is that an old computer like mine take only 2 minutes and 7 seconds, so it's pretty feasible, okay? Now let's see what we downloaded. And so I print band list. That's the results. A list of a dictionary, so with the band key, the genre, the band names, the genre and location, and keeps for each row of each page. Now, I created pandas data frame because for the next part, as usual, we just delete the page, so you can now close the Chrome because we don't need anymore, and we can use this pandas data frame we created by just using pandas data frame band list. Okay, I need the results was this one, the first 3 columns, band, genre, and location. Unfortunately, I need to change because, as I told you before, and I hope that some Finnish guys help me understand it, after the comma we got 2 results. Pietarsaari / Vaasa, I think it's the name of the city, and the other one is the region. And for this reason, I made a split. First of all, I take this df.location, I transform into a string and then I split according to the command. And I use expand equal true in order to have from one column, 2 columns, which are city and region, and that's the result. Now, the project itself, for this part, ends here. But in order to have these elements, I have to do this. I got to save it to Excel or CSV file. I stored in both ways, so you can just use whatever you want according to your tastes. And just pay attention, as I told you before, Finnish _ bands 2 and not the first one, because the first one is the older. Now, as I told you before, I can even do something before the next part. Okay, I just want to see a plot of all the genres, the most popular genre in metal bands. Remember, I didn't make any changes to this column, to the genre. And as you can see here, there is a lot of slash, because sometimes, if you're a metaller, you know it, there's a lot of confusion to define a proper genre. And yeah, it's pretty understandable. So for this reason, I didn't do anything, because it's already too long, this project. Do it yourself if you wish. Unfortunately, the results are a bit weird. In fact, first of all, read the Excel file, and then just use for this column or the genre, count each values, and then just select the most popular one. I just select the 20 most popular one. Then I sorted from the biggest to the lowest, and I plot in an horizontal plot. That's the results, and as I told you before, it's weird. First of all, I'm not expecting black metal, but death and melodic death, melodeath. In fact, that's the proof that it's not properly done. Melodic death / thrash metal, melodic death. Okay, there's a bit of confusion, but you can work if you wish. I don't. Okay, here ends the first part of the project, and I hope you enjoyed the first part. I know it's a bit boring for some stuff. For this reason, I have to cut it, because the next part it's full of plots, and if you never use geopandas, we need to explain it. It's pretty funny, actually, so don't be worried. I don't like, and I'm not a fan of part 1, part 2, part 3. Honestly, I don't like. I prefer one video for one project, and I hope in the future I will be able to do that. Okay, I greet all of you, and I hope you will be enjoying for the next part. Stay metal. Bye bye!